If you're looking for Magic cards, look no further than Flipside Gaming. They have all the latest Magic singles and product that you need to actually leave the house and battle in Magic the Gathering. And right now, if you would like to save 10% on your orders from Flipside Gaming, use the promo code CGB at checkout. That is promo code CGB. Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB, and today we're focusing on the quest for Mythic. We're going to kick off this series. We're kind of in High Diamond 2. We're going to see if we can make that push to Mythic by playing some spiky decks. I don't have a lot to say, to be honest, about the decks. At this point, you've seen them probably everywhere, and if you have any questions or comments about specific card choices, go ahead and leave me a comment or log into my free Discord and talk to me or some other awesome magicians there about it. But for the most part, it's a very straightforward deck that I'm sure everybody's familiar with at this point if you've been laddering at all. But sometimes it's all about picking the most powerful thing you can be doing. We're going to start with a very aggressive Boros strategy, which is, in my opinion, one of the strongest decks in the format. And we're going to see what we can do on the ladder. This hand is kind of what you want, and we're on the play, so you just hope it's really good. We don't want to play Bodyguard first because we want it to protect something, whereas Skymarcher is happy to come down first, so that's an easy choice. So if I had to give a tip about going for Mythic, about playing ranked best of one Magic, I would say this: you're going to lose a lot, and how you respond to the best of one ladder kind of shows two things. Number one is how much focus and emphasis you personally put on your time, and how much focus and emphasis you personally put on winning. So let me first talk about time. It's going to take a lot of time. So you have to be playing Magic anyway, and it would probably help if you enjoyed playing extremely competitive Magic for your time to really be worth it. Otherwise, there's not much that can be done to make your time worth it in these scenarios, to be totally honest with you. Let's see, who are we protecting? And number two is how you handle losing. You will have to lose a lot. Many games will be lost. Many games will be lost. In ranked best of one, there will be a number of losses where it simply does not matter what you do, you will lose. There will be failings. Whether, like, half the time, supposedly, if it plays out that way, and less than half the time, if you're not lucky, you will be on the draw. And being on the draw can just determine games. No way to win. Good hand versus good hand, but you were on the draw. Then, of course, there's Mana Screw and Mana Flood. And then, of course, there's your deck's terrible matchup. So, I can't stress enough, you will lose, and you will lose a lot. So, you have to be willing to accept that, and you need to at least have a good relationship with it. It is said that if you put in enough time, all you need is to win 51 out of 100 games to eventually get to Mythic. And actually, the number goes crazier than that. But the fact is, you have to put in that time, and you have to not let it tilt you when you struggle. So we're holding this heroic reinforcement since our opponent probably has a sinister sabotage, something of that nature. Even though it could be lethal, I expect it would eat a counterspell. And it's a great follow-up to a sweeper should our opponent ever find one. And here's a Deafening Clarion. So we're definitely paying 4 life for this. And then we're sacrificing our bodyguards, which will make our Skymarchers indestructible. And the opponent sees that we know how that works, and that game's over. If we had been on the other side of this, we'd have said, there's just absolutely nothing we could have done in this game. So get a healthy relationship with winning and losing. And a lot of people who just can't take the swings, yeah, sometimes you're going to get to a rank and you're going to be very proud of that. And then you're going to lose 4 out of 5 games, or you're going to lose 6 out of 7 games, something crazy. And you're going to rank down very quickly. And sometimes there's nothing you could do about that. You have to live with it. So I feel like I have to do a bit of a coaching pep talk to start off this series, just because most people who get very frustrated and upset about rank, that's going to be the reason why, when the grind really gets to you. Trust me, I know. I struggle with it myself. I am not preaching from a spot of perfection. So this hand doesn't have any early pressure, and therefore mighta, shoulda, maybe coulda been a mulligan. However, the deck has so many low drops, I'm often willing to take risks on slower hands like this. we'll see how it goes. Not, especially on the draw here, I do not feel good anyway about my chances, and I don't, we'll see. It's quite possible this could have been a mulligan all along. Well, always lucky. How you feeling? Always lucky feels like a bathroom break, I guess. Always lucky is playing Turbo Fog and we're on a slow start, which means we can't really win. I mean, I guess we could get extremely lucky, but it's not looking good, is what I'll say about that. Our opponent discarding a Teferi to their chart, of course, is interesting, as we can go after the Conclave Tribunal approach. Turbo Fog's certainly seen a resurgence in best of one. That is for sure. So what do you think? Our opponent has their mana, so I don't think going after Gift of Paradise is the play here. I think that Conclave Tribunals on Teferi are a pretty good call right now, since our opponent already has one discarded. I'm sure they have a couple, and we're going to have to endure them. And here comes Teferi number one. No, it doesn't. Interesting. So our opponent choosing to hold up Settle the Wreckage. Well, we're definitely not going to attack with the Benalish Marshal into a Settle the Wreckage from this spot. We'll see if the opponent has anything they want to do. The Snubhorn's 1 damage isn't really worth it if we're walking into a Settle. So I'm just going to send the Bodyguard. Yeah, okay. I think that means the opponent has 2 Settles. I don't know what would ever make me snap one off quite that way. Very interesting situation. 8 cards for the Ascension, meaning heroic reinforcements will do it. I mean, this is definitely now Teferi time, right? Another gift. That's not Teferi. And Karn. Alright. And Sacrificial Karn, I might add.
I battle for the... Are you certain of your decision?
Okay, well those are 2 cards that the opponent would definitely want. I'm actually giving them Nexus of Fate and not Search for Azcanta. While Nexus of Fate is a more annoying card, it is a full mana investment, and if they don't have a particular advantage on the board, all it does is draw 1 card. Alright, so to kill the Karn, or to kill the face. I want to kill the face very much. The heroic reinforcements, how much does it do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 plus 5 is 14. Plus 5 is 19. Plus 4 is 23. I think we got him. Yeah, we got him. And ta-da, that is how you get to Diamond 1. Ooh, it's so big, it's so shiny. Yes, I do. I will. I will marry you. But just until something mythic comes along. Okay, this kind of an odd one-lander on the draw is interesting. It is something we can keep in some situations. Like if we drew another land, it's one of our best hands because we can go 1-drop into 1-drop, 1-drop, flip into more shenanigans. But it's also not like we have the heroic reinforcements in hand or anything else to really top off the draw. It's an interesting draw. It's also just begging for some mana screw. I'm going to mulligan. And I'm going to be pretty happy with this keep, as it's also right in that wheelhouse of draws we can have. And I'm going to keep the land on top, so I have sort of the curve. Dauntless Bodyguard isn't likely to get through against this opponent anyway, so I'm going to lead on Snubhorn and make it indestructible with Bodyguard. It looks like our opponent's on Golgari, which means they're about to play an Explorer creature that would only trade with the Bodyguard, or a Wild Growth Walker, which would just strong block it. Alright, I'm going to go for the Vanguard. If our opponent has an Explorer creature here, the game is sort of already in a hard lock. And it looks like we see tap land, no Explorer. Interesting. So this is where we played Benalish Marshal, I think. Although that's right into a Chupacabra, and I really wish I could protect it with a Dauntless Bodyguard. No, I think here we actually deploy the other creatures. Let's send over the Vanguard. So then we have a big attack from the Marshal before it can get Chupacabra'd. Alright, here we come. All hands on deck. I really wish I could bodyguard the Marshal, but I don't think it's worth saving up for that. Cast down, sure. Well, I got more snubbles where that came from. I guess I'll protect one of my snubbles. Your turn. I think we would have seen the Jade Light Ranger if our opponent has it, so they might have an awkward draw, but it usually means they have Vraska's Contempt, Chupacabra, things of that nature. So, into a Vraska's Contempt is not the time to play a Benalish Marshal. So, we'll send in the Adanto again. It will very, very, very likely eat that Vraska's Contempt. And now it's risky to put out the Marshal here. Again, there's the Chupacabra fear, but we've already seen Cast Down Contempt. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to hope my opponent's sitting on cards like Vivian Reed. If they have yet another removal, we're in trouble anyway. Okay, Doom Whisper, that's really good too. Don't know what I'm quite going to do about that at this point, but at least we hit the land. So we can power up the Marshal. We can nail the Legion's Landing. Stick the Legion's Landing, you might say. Power up the Snubs. And because Finality is probably on the way anyhow, I think this is where we just swing. We can't really beat a Finality, but we may as well get some damage in. I mean, I guess we could. A few Heroic Reinforcements off the top always give you a chance, and a flipped Adanto gives you a chance, but also these hits take away from what Doom Whisperer can do, so that's part of the plan. Opponent's debating whether or not to block the Marshal and get me to sack the Bodyguard or to block a Snubhorn Sentry. It's an interesting decision. But the fact that they're thinking about it so much also implies that they don't have a Finality yet. So, are you protecting this Marshal? Yes, you are. Right click, by the way, is the way to figure that out. And damage. So our opponent not blocking with the Walker. And we knock him to 8. I'm sure we'll see Doom Whisperer set up a Finality, or it could be an Explore creature. But by reducing their life total, we at least make that a harder thing for them to do. And they bin 2 cards. Oh my, do they dare Whisper again? It's a lot of damage. If they have an Explore creature, of course, they have 3 blockers, which can block these 3, and then they're only taking 5. So if they gain some life and go up to 7 with a 1 Explore, then they're okay. But we can always hope the top of the deck betrays them viciously. And it looks like it does. They just been defined. And they didn't keep a land, which tells me they don't have they don't have another one. I'm not sure what to make of all this. See, if they had a Finality in hand, they would keep a land. And if they needed that. And now they're scooping. Oh man, I feel like they overplayed their hand this time. Once the Boros train starts rolling, it's hard to stop. This hand is pretty good. Legion's Landing and some Vanguards. It's good against Jeskai on the draw. It's bad against red in basically every way. But we'll see what happens. We haven't played red in quite a while, so maybe we're just overdue for that. Let's get shocked. Okay, red-blue. Not mono-red. It's probably good for us, and what on earth? Somebody's going for Mythic Pirates. Well, kudos to them. Let's give it up for Grixis Mythic Pirate efforts. I mean, did this just sneak in somehow? It looks so out of place. Everything else looks like Drake so far. This is so crazy to me. But they got here somehow. We should respect whatever's going on. I'm sure it's a fiery cannonade deck. That we have to think about. Fortunately, we already think about effects like Deafening Clarion pretty often with our build. Alright, well, and this is one of those cases where History of Benalia seems like the automatic definite play. But if our opponent is a fiery cannonade deck, playing a Snubhorn Sentry and another Adanto Vanguard is much better. We can always Benalia later. By the way, it's also a lot of damage to keep Vanguards alive through multiple cannonades. And the opponent is headed for our face, but we're going to be paying life most of the way up. I'm sure we'll see a cannonade now. But let's wait. Okay, our opponent does run Enigma Drake. What is this? Is this a mistake? Oh man, I don't know what I'm seeing. Anyway, Benalish Marshal. And let's get in there. We do want to flip that landing so reinforcements is available. It's an easy block on snubs. I know that I'm giving that away, but I think it's worth it. And now we get a life linker. And we've set up for heroic going wide next turn. So hold on. Man, maybe they put this card in there just to discard, just to throw people off, or they lost a bet. I really don't understand what's happening. Lava Coil, all right. And what for your next trick? Quasi-duplicate, yes. All right, so block, 2, 4, 6. It's not lethal, but if the opponent attacks here, it is. Oh, they're going for it. Very aggressive, very unwise, because if both of these survive the turn anyway, my opponent would win, whereas heroic reinforcements means they lose. And yep. Maths say dead. All right, I hope they, let's see. I hope you enjoyed this look at diamond level Boros going for Mythic, and since we're making more progress than I even expected, I'm going to have to end this one here so I can show some other decks as we get our way up to that Mythic rank. Tune in to the next video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, I will see you in the next video. My YouTube channel is proudly supported by HauntedFlower.com. Shipping officially licensed apparel anywhere in the world, and now featuring Magic the Gathering apparel and accessories. If you use the promo code CGB at your checkout, you can save 10% on any order. That's the promo code CGB at checkout on HauntedFlower.com. That's HauntedFlower.com.